Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.
All right, guys, welcome in. Time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered, of course, by WagerTalk.com. The association card bountiful tonight. We got 4 games we're going to break down for you. Here they are, in fact, in no particular order, actually in exactly that order. Portland, Detroit. We're going to talk a little Utah Jazz. We're going to talk about the Grizz. We're going to talk Celtics and Dallas. We're going to talk Kings and San Antonio. And we're going to do all of this talking with 3 of the absolute finest handicappers you will meet, including Brian Leonard at the top there, ready to rock and roll here tonight, as well as Stevie in the middle, Merrill. That's right, 2 R's and 1 L in the house. And there he is after his triumphant Phoenix Suns pick yesterday on the show, ready to go. Tony Mejia in the house, TM back in action. And Brian, let me throw it to you first here, my friend. I know you have had a lot of Major League Baseball on your mind, as we all have. Opening day tomorrow, of course. I know you got huge when it comes to Major League Baseball here. But what else is going on with Brian Leonard at WagerTalk.com here this week?
It for today. I got a couple opinions in basketball, and we'll talk about those on the show today. But yeah, it's been all Major League Baseball. Just finished talking about the early games on another show, so that'll be up real soon. And yeah, really excited about the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great time. And you guys, of course, you can catch Brian there on First Pitch during the week, beginning next week there at 1:45 in its regular slot, 1:45 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check it out with him and Drew Martin. All right, Merrill. I didn't want to have to give you credit, but I got to give you credit because last night here on the show, you came out with it's Orlando or not for me. You were the only one back in Orlando here against the Clippers, and voila. Great job there yesterday. But what do you got ready to rock and roll at WagerTalk.com today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should have used the Clippers on the money line instead of the plus 11.5, right? They were a 5-1 on the money line last night, so that was a big upset. But then again, it's the LA Clippers, as I mentioned. It's load management. I had them as a best bet Monday. Came right back here on the show for the free play and went against them. That's just how you handicap the NBA. It's an ebb and flow. Tonight, I do have an overplay, an easy over shootout. There's 10 games on the board. I love this over-under. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. And the great thing about over is once it goes over with 4 or 5 minutes to go, you don't have to sweat it anymore. You just got to hope the electricity stays on for, 59 minutes to be an official play in the NFL? Maybe it's 47 in the NBA. But yeah, an easy over shootout tonight at WagerTalk.com.
Love that. All right, guys, head over there. And Mejia, my man, congrats. You were adamant about your Phoenix Suns last night, and they did the job. They certainly won that game. But what do you got in store for us here tonight at WagerTalk?
Well, I got a 4% play loaded up already in one of the evening games. I have a few more plays. There's a lot of spots that I like. Ended up 4-1 in basketball yesterday, but really still, pissed off about USC Gonzaga not getting to the number. Fell 2 points short because USC wouldn't extend the game despite the fact it was an elimination game. So it ruined a potential 5-0 night. But it was encouraging that maybe the basketball gods are looking out for me because you don't see 4-point plays like the one Jay Crowder got to rescue that Hawks pick. So, and opening day of baseball tomorrow, I was telling Merrill that I'm really cramming in research on that, so I ignored the European World Cup qualifying today, but got to get back on the soccer tip too. So plenty to do. April on its way.
Let's go, slacker. Get your ass back in gear here. We don't hear Brian Leonard complaining, do you? Ridiculous, me here. All right, guys, we're going to start off. It was only a light card last night, 4 games in the association. We covered all 4 on the show. No contrarian play, no overtime, nothing like that. But we're back at it here tonight. with the full card. And our contrarian game we're going to take a look at here is the Portland Trailblazers taking on the Detroit Pistons. And I'm going to guess Detroit probably not looking forward to coming up against Norman Powell, who's now in Portland tonight, since he's basically torched them every time that he has played them so far this year. But this game opened up 6.5. It shot up to 8 throughout the morning here. It has gotten a little buyback. I'm seeing 7.5 now. So let me ask you, Brian, I'll start with you. A, do you agree with the market movement here? It's up, now it's going back the other way. Is there any value in backing the dog here with this Detroit team?
I'm always very concerned around the All-Star break, before the trade deadline, before the trade deadline and after the trade deadline, because teams are getting used to playing with players they haven't played with before. You're going to find that all across the board the next few days. Is you get some guys that come in. Obviously, there was a player yesterday at Boston, 0 for 10 from the field, and he's going to be a major contributor for him. So just take it easy a little bit around this time. Don't go crazy with these plays. But yeah, I like Detroit here. It's a situational play. You've got Portland's coming off of 3 straight road games. They beat Miami by 3. They beat Orlando by 7. They beat Toronto by 5. And if you're reading some of the quotes from Portland, they're all happy-go-lucky at this point. Usually when I start reading quotes from teams saying that they're playing really good ball, they're doing exactly what they want, that's the time to jump in and fade them. And I think that's what we're going to do tonight with Detroit. Detroit's a team that's much better than the record. They seem to play everybody tough. The only concern I have is the 2 sharpest books in my mind, the sharpest book in Vegas and the sharpest book offshore, both have 8. Everybody else has got 7.5. That is a concern. But still, I think the value here is on Detroit. I don't want Portland in this situation, and I'll take Detroit plus a 7.5.
Certainly great stuff there, Bryce. Certainly interesting. 7 out of their last 10 have ended up in a W there, Steve Merrill, for Portland. But they're also getting healthier, right? Zach Collins, I believe, still out, but Nurkic is back. Now they welcome in Norman Powell on the team, C.J. McCollum. It's a who's who here on this Portland team. But do you trust them in this spot on the road in Detroit?
Well, Brian brings up a great point, Joe, because I'm seeing the same thing and what I look at as well. There is a little bit of a sharp lean in some of the books on Portland, so it might not be quite as contrarian as we think. And then also, if we look at the WagerTalk live odds right now, 51% of the tickets are on Detroit, 64% of the money, which is a little surprising there. And that's a small sample. That's not a global sample, obviously. But that gives me a little more confidence. I guess my point is to fade the contrarian here, because normally I do like to go contrarian, as you know. I do worry that Portland could overlook this game, but the fact that they haven't played for 3 days since last Sunday makes me think maybe that's less of the case here, and they are on the end of a road trip here, so I think they could keep that momentum going. And the bigger thing for me is I like to play against bad teams off a win. It's an angle I've used for decades in the NBA, these Class D home dogs off a win. And let's look at Detroit in recent months. Going back all the way to mid-February, they've only won now 5 games. They lost to New Orleans by 10 after a win in February. They lost by 10 at New York in a win after an early March. They did win after beating Toronto in mid-March, but that came against, guess who? The Houston Rockets, the worst team in the league right now. So we can discount that win. And now, lo and behold, they're coming off a win against Toronto 2 days ago. The team Portland beat the night before. So I do think there could be a little bit of a regression actually by Detroit in this game. So I have no problem backing Portland minus the 7.5. And as Brian mentioned, there are some 8s out there. So if you do like Portland, play the 7.5. If you like Detroit, wait, as there are going to be more 8s. And that rhymes as I throw it back to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. There were a lot more 8s a couple hours ago, too. So there seems to be in some places, Tony Mejia, that it's coming back down towards Detroit here. How do you have this team matched up? I mean, obviously, Portland to win, but will they cover in your mind? What do you think?
Yeah, I have a healthy respect for the contrarian play of the day. I don't mind going against it, though. I wouldn't touch it here. Just too many situations that I don't like. For starters, the Blazers get to go back home. And this is a game where they can potentially play for 3 quarters, play around, make sure Yusuf Nurkic is happy with his touches. Carmelo Anthony now getting less play off the bench. I think a great player prop here would be to continue fading Damian Lillard points. He's done a nice job of making sure other people are happy as the point guard of that team, with CJ McCollum having returned this month, and obviously Nurkic just coming back, and Norman Powell now on the team. So doing a little less shooting from distance and more facilitating. So take that angle with you, and not to mention that the Pistons have two guys who immediately contributed in beating the Raptors the other night, and Corey Joseph and Hamidou Diallo, who they're going to take a long look at. And, guys play harder when they're in those situations. So I see this as a game where the Blazers wind up winning late, not going to touch it.
All right, there you go. He's avoiding it. You understand? I don't really know what the hell he said. I just think he's not going anywhere near it. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our featured game of the night, at least featured game number 1, which will include the Utah Jazz taking on the Grizz. Now, this opened up at 8, I believe. The total 229 and a half. I'm seeing 6s in many spots, 226 and a half. So total coming down, side coming down, and it certainly won't be for a lack of, fatigue here, Merrill, as most of the Utah guys, I don't think, played more than 27, 28 minutes there against Cleveland in their last win. God, that was a demolishing. But how do you like them in this spot here going up against the Grizz?
Well, it's been a very interesting case study this year. The Utah Jazz, their point spread run, of course, was making national headlines a couple months ago. And then, not surprisingly, right after it was in mainstream media, it came to an end, as it often these bubbles do. But it also coincided with Utah taking to the road for an extended stretch there at the end of February. And it really, if there's ever a team other than Denver that should have an extreme home-road dichotomy, it is the altitude Utah Jazz, and it's played out that way this year. This Utah team is 20-2 straight up at home, a mere 15-9 on the road. More importantly, they're 17-5 against the spread at home, just 13-11 against the spread on the road. So, we saw them fade as they went on the road. We saw them pick things back up here in this recent 4-game homestand in which they went 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the spread. Now they're on the road, but it's just one game. They're back for home 2 more games after this. It's a weird spot tonight, but I agree with the line moving down. Memphis would be the way to play this. Utah has been the most extreme home-road dichotomy in the league, and it makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, with that altitude. So we'll see if that continues tonight.
Yeah, we just saw it a couple days ago, right? Tony Mejia, it was all Utah, but Memphis is 5-1 in the last 6 against teams not named Utah. So do you agree with the market movement like Steve does here, or do you think Utah all the way here?
Well, Donovan Mitchell's missing this game. So personal reasons, I think that had something to do with the line move, probably more than if you want to watch something gross on the internet, not that there's a shortage of options there. You can see bird blood on the Utah Jazz team charter plane because they had to be rerouted yesterday trying to get to this place, to Memphis, because they struck birds like immediately upon takeoff. So that's a bad sign. And then Mitchell's not playing. But, they can survive without Mitchell, especially for a game. But this is also their 3rd game against Memphis in 6 days. You referenced it, and they swept the 2 home games. So I'm in agreement with Steve that this is a spot where the Grizzlies should flourish. And Ja Morant hasn't played great of late, so you're concerned with that. But the fact is it's tough to beat a team in the regular season 3 times in a week span. You really don't run into this situation very often. And I think at this point, because the line opened at 8 prior to the Mitchell news, I presume, there's value in Memphis.
Yeah, and it really is. And there's not a whole lot of Grayson Allen questionable for Memphis. Outside of that, Brian, not a whole lot of other injury news for either of these teams. But the number keeps going the other way. Who do you trust in this spot?
Yeah, I think I read the same article that Tony did regarding the plane. Is he trying to set us with some breaking news that Mitchell has the bird flu?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Any chance I get. Anyway, the Utah Jazz are playing terrific ball right now, obviously playing great ball. Going to Memphis here. It's tough to want to back a Utah team after winning by 39 points. But Cleveland actually was playing that game without a couple of the starters, and their starting center was the guy they just traded for, was a bench guy in Denver. So, yeah, it wasn't a game that Cleveland was going to win, so you might as well write that one off early. and they did. So Utah should be pretty fresh here going to this road game. But we're looking at a Memphis team who's coming home for the first game after 4 games on the road, coming off that satisfying win over Houston, a team who everybody is loving to play lately. So it could be a situation for Memphis. Normally when a team comes on the road their first game, I don't like to play them. Just historically, it hasn't been a good spot. But if I had to play this game, that would probably be the way I would look, is I think Utah may be a little bit overrated at this point. But take some balls to stand in front of the way Utah's playing right now. So that won't be me going to the window.
All right, he is ballless. You heard it here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. And just a note here, guys, Memphis also on the season 25-18-1 against the number at home. So it's an interesting spot here tonight as we get ready. That is going to be the 8 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off in that matchup. All right, featured game number 2, and I am sensing that there is an angle of the day associated here with this. Oh, look at that, huh? This must mean we're talking about the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. And, of course, the angle of the day provided by our good friend John Ryan over at sportsmemo.com. Steve did an absolutely horrific job of deciphering his angle of the day yesterday. We'll see if he does better here. But the angle reads that we want to bet on road teams in a game with a point spread under 4, where the road team, well, it's coming off of a 20 or more point win, and the host has scored at least 111 points in 5 of their last 6 games. Now, those road teams, 13-1 against the number over the last 5 seasons. He's talking about the Dallas Mavs tonight taking on the Boston Celtics. So, Steve, let me come to you quickly here for the angle, the deciphering of the angle of the day. Do you agree with it? Understand it? How are you approaching this game?
Yes, I do understand this one better, and I had to chuckle because I read the YouTube comments last night, and someone said, I still don't understand. It was hilarious. I went back and watched it, and I made myself laugh with myself, so that was good, but that was entertaining. But this one's a little more simple. It's a small sample size, which I'm not big on, obviously, just 14 games, but it is recent. So, whatever the points scored involved, as I said, comes into play, we got to be careful because the NBA is so much higher scoring now than just a couple years ago. But what this is saying is it's a road team that's got a lot of momentum, basically, and they continue to carry that momentum. And I think there's some truth to that. And so that's a good sign for Dallas. Of course, Boston dealing with lineup problems here the last week or so, a lot of uncertainty. This game was off the board last night until this morning for that reason. So I have no problem getting with the Dallas Mavericks, who have been the more consistent team this year, and they've got some technical support with that 13-1 angle as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking too because the line flipped a little bit here, Tony. It opened up at -1 for Dallas in some spots. Now I'm looking at -1 for Boston in a lot of spots here. So how do you approach this game here tonight?
Well, first, I think we need to get some Gregorian chants or something to put in the background music whenever we read those things, and make them read like Nostradamus quatrains.
I love
on
it.
The History Channel.
Amadeus.
I want to know if Jaylen Brown is playing in this game. That interests me a ton. Him and Marcus Smart will be on Luka Doncic duty. And then, at that point, these are two teams that have somewhat struggled of late. The Mavericks come off a 21-point win over the Thunder, but the Thunder are depleted at this point, and they lost the previous 2 games to the Pelicans and the Pacers. And the Celtics have been floundering all year. So if Jaylen Brown doesn't play, Brian referenced Evan Fournier going 0 for 10 in his debut. First time he touched the ball, he threw up a 3-pointer. So at least he's not shy there. They brought him in there for a reason. But moving parts for Boston makes me want to ride Dallas, but more so if Jaylen Brown's not in.
It's tough, Brian. I mean, you mentioned you didn't want to get in front of that Utah train. And, Dallas has been a little bit rolling. Kind of an easy win against Oklahoma City last time out, but very inconsistent, this Boston team, even at home. How do you approach it?
You're putting me in a tough position here.
Uh-oh.
I hate to be a Dave Koken.
Oh, no.
Actually, I wish I was Dave Koken. The guy's been great all
Get the Switzerland flag out. Get that Switzerland flag out. I feel it coming.
No, I'm not doing the Switzerland thing. I'm doing the angle of the day kind of thing.
Ooh.
That's all stupid crap. It's nobody I know who bets for a living is playing those kind of angles. They don't make any sense. They don't have any. Sure, they're fun to look at, but nobody bets with those numbers. Come on. Now, this will probably be the last show I'll be on this network. But I gotta pull a Dave Koken. That's all. That's a bunch of horse shit.
Oh Christ! You gotta stop hanging out with Koken, Mike. You got. I can't.
That was a Kokenism right there. That was a surly old man right there.
I'm sorry.
Listen, you got carte blanche on this show now. Anytime you want.
ESPN does the same thing, and it drives me crazy. Put up something that has some value. I don't have any opinion on this game. I'm just fired up.
No! Switzerland his ass! He said he wasn't going Switzerland, now he just went Switzerland. Terrible! Throw him up there. That's it. He got one flag. Oh, my word. Overtime, guys. That's where we're heading to right now. Holy crap. I'm going to pee myself. Let's go to our overtime game, which is going to be the Kings taking on the San Antonio Spurs in this match. Opened up at 232, one of the higher ones on the board here tonight, but that has since, well, that's come down a little bit, 230.5. So, Brian, I'm going to come back to you. You earned it. So talk to me here as far as the hard to ever bet a under on the Kings, right? We talk about this, I feel like, every week, but do you agree with the market move, or is it an over or not for you in this spot?
First off, I just want to apologize to John Ryan. It wasn't meant specifically to him. It was just my feelings on that. I like the Kings here. The Kings are playing really good ball. The offense has been really good other than the game against Cleveland, and that was more of a situation with the pace of the game. And by the way, if you haven't seen the last 30 seconds in that Cleveland-Sacramento game, that was terrific NBA viewing. Just the reason why I like to watch the NBA. But they're playing very well right now. Fox has just been tremendous as of late. I loved him coming out of college, and he was a bit of a disappointment until this year. He's really coming into his own. San Antonio is a team at this point that are just can't wait for the season to end. They're just not playing well. Sacramento looked really good against them last game. Normally, I would look to fade the team, but I don't want to stand in front of the Kings right now. The Kings are playing really good ball.
They are. It's a good point. And Steve, when you're looking at the Kings right now, it's kind of like the market went all the way to the left. Now the Kings are starting to play some basketball. They haven't covered. I mean, they have 5 straight, 7 out of their last 8. They're doing pretty well here. Is this a train you want to get in front of here? Do you think that they can continue to carry up and over and continue to go north of 230, or is there some defense in the future here in this game?
Yeah, the Kings have been a streaky team the last few months. They won those several in a row, and then they lose like 8 straight, I think. And remember, we were actually, the angle of the day actually played on them that night when they were on the 8 game. Remember that Friday here with Kevin Dolan, and the angle actually said play on them against the Pistons that night, and it squeaked out, I think, like a half-point win. But since then, they've really picked things back up. Brian brought up something interesting there, and that gets me a little more comfortable with the over, because the Kings, I'm always comfortable with the over with the Kings. The Spurs are the ones you have to worry about. When Brian said, though, that they're playing out the season, that gives me more comfortability playing the over. And that's one of my favorite angles here as we get into April, starting tomorrow. These last few weeks of the regular season, when teams have nothing to play for, it is playground basketball, as I like to say, and that means offense, no defense. All these guys can score in their sleep. I mean, they just can. They're in the NBA for a reason. So if that is the Spurs, and I think Brian could be right about that, by the way, we definitely might get some value really with the Spurs games going over in the near future. And then, of course, Sacramento will probably have no problem helping them get there tonight.
We've seen the Spurs actually hit a lot of, both of these teams been pretty good to the over, certainly recently here as well, Tony Mejia. So is it an over or not situation in this game for you?
I believe so, Joe. Spurs are 5-2 in their last 7 going over, and the Kings are 4-2, I believe. It's certainly, and you expect that the Aaron Fox is going to push it whenever he can. DeJounte Murray does the same thing for the Spurs. Over or not for me. But what's a little fishy is that the number isn't higher.
Right.
So I had it at 233. Don't like that it opened to 232 and went lower. So to me, I think this was definitely the highest scoring game of the day. Now it's been eclipsed by Houston, Brooklyn. But yeah, I mean, it's still over enough.
Yeah, it was funny. 2 days ago, what they combined? 247, it looks like. 247 2 days ago, and this number continues to go down. So it's an interesting spot here with the Kings taking on the Spurs. Now it is time, of course, for our best bet. It is buzzer beater time here, guys. But I do also, before we go around the horn here, I do want to remind you guys that if you head over to WagerTalk.com right now, great opportunity to hop on and get a 30-day all-access pass from any one of these guys, in fact. And you'll get every play, every sport they had. You heard Brian talking about baseball coming up. Plenty of NBA left here. Soccer, as Tony said. A lot of things going on. And right now, for just $199, you get 30 days all access from your favorite handicappers. So visit Brian Leonard's page, visit Steve Merrill's page, and, of course, visit Tony Mejia's page and hop on board. 30 days, every play that they post in all sports. Just $199. It's a great opportunity there. And Brian, I'm going to come to you. Start, man. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to get the popcorn. I can't wait to who you're ripping now. So go ahead, give us the best bet and do whatever the hell you want. Angry Brian, go.
Well, I was going to use Detroit, but I just found out they're going to be wearing blue shoes tonight. Actually, since we've got plenty of time, let's talk about the baseball season. Today's the last day to get anybody's early bird special. I've got one going with Dwayne Bryant. He plays a lot of totals. I play a lot of sides. Right now we got a 2-for-1 special for, I believe it's $8.95. Today's the last day to get it. Can't even get one person for $8.95 after tomorrow. So you want to get on that now. I will continue on with Detroit. I don't believe in the blue shoes theory. And I'll take Detroit catching the points at home against Portland, and that'll be my play today. And I'll just dribble out the clock. That's about all I've got on that one.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very nice. There you go. Way to do it. Going with our contrarian side there, guys, here today. The contrarian game with the Pistons taking on Portland at home. And Merrill, we're heading to you, my man. Come on, 60 seconds. Stevie in the middle. Merrill, 2Rs, 1L. Talk to us, my man. Where are you going tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to use a game we already talked about because I do think there's some value with the Memphis Grizzlies +6. There's a lot of 5.5s, but there's also 6s out there. But I want to mention the game I was going to give out, but I already gave it out on Wager Talk today for my big game breakdown, is the Milwaukee Lakers game on ESPN tonight at 10 Eastern. So if you'd like a bonus free play, go watch the replay of Wager Talk today here on Wager Talk TV for the Bucks Lakers. But I do think the Jazz could overlook this game. They're back on the road, as I mentioned earlier, much weaker on the road this year, straight up and against the spread. And they just beat Memphis twice about a week ago at home. And they are without Donovan Mitchell. Now, that is a concern because they beat the Mavericks by 31 combined in 2 games late January without him. And teams often step up, as we talk about. But the fact they just beat Memphis twice, I don't think that'll be the case here. And Mitchell had 70 points in those 2 wins last week. So I think that will be a loss. With my extra time, I don't want to give away Tony. I should have gone last. Tony's got a Raps play, and Brian Leonard thought that meant rap. Tony said he likes the Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure who Brian likes, so I gave him Leonard Skinner. But I know who Joe Ranieri likes. It's a 3-for-1 special here. We got disco hits. 1, 2, 3. All for you, Joe Ranieri. A 3-for-1 special here on Wager Talk TV.
Why are we not buzzing him? Buzz his ass. Thank you very much. Awesome. Holy. What you couldn't find your cassettes? You old bastard. You CDs. Yeah. I can't even with you. All right, now with an 8, if you bust out an 8-track here, Mejia, I'm out. I'm walking off and I'm gone.
I'm not quite that old. I do have to check, sir.
Go ahead,
I have
Mejia.
those CDs within arm's length. So
how does somebody have a disco hit CD? Like but never mind. I already want to know. Mejia, you got it. 60 seconds, please. God.
All right. Well, something called March Madness is going on, and it's extending into April. I'm on a 34-13 run, despite the fact that 2 of my plays this week I've lost by a single point, much to my chagrin. But we'll try to finish this tournament as strongly as possible. Look forward to that. Obviously, baseball season, I'm right on board with these guys as well. And to basketball, I've got a play in that Bucks and Lakers game, and there will be more plays to be had. My free play, though, is on the Toronto Raptors for are 1-12 in March. And I like them laying 7.5 points, despite the fact they don't have Kyle Lowry tonight. It means Gary Trent Jr. will get more shots to get more comfortable. I like Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam running the offense. And I have 14 seconds, so I can't even get through how many Thunder players are out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lucas Dort, Alexei Pokusevski, Mike Muscala, Al Horford, done for the season. So you're going to fade the Thunder tonight. Go to the Raptors.
Very nice. All right, Raptors, you're right. The whole damn lineup, it looks like. The whole roster seems to be out here tonight with OKC. All right, good job. I do believe we also have our friends from the Gold Sheet that have a posted play up here tonight, and they're going, oh, look at that. The Miami Heat. They like them in this spot tonight here. Taking on the Indiana Pacers, a team where they just couldn't beat them here at home just a week ago. So we'll see if they got any more luck there in Indiana. Lay the 2, according to our friends at the Gold Sheet. And, of course, guys, all our Gold Sheet plays of the day can be found at WagerTalk's Twitter page. Just head over there and make sure that you are following WagerTalk and all the handicappers there. And, of course, those write-ups you'll be able to find. All right, let's look at the best bet recap once again here. Brian Leonard, he's going with the contrarian game here. The Pistons plus 7.5, does not trust Portland in this spot situationally. The Grizzlies with Merrill, he likes it plus 6, opened up at 8, now continues to go the other way. Tony Mejia, Raptors, you heard him. You might have to play for OKC tonight. I don't even know if they have enough guys. Brian Leonard's getting a call right now from the bullpen to go play for OKC tonight. Lay the 7.5, and our friends from the Gold Sheet, they say lay the 2. And before Steve Merrill busts out any sort of Sugar Hill Gang reference, we got to get the hell out of here. Hit the bell in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure that you come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll do a whole nother episode here of the NBA Tip-Off Show. Thank you to John Ryan and his angle of the day, even though Brian Leonard did the, with all due respect, kiss my ass. Basically it. I love it. Very nice there, Brian. Guys, best of luck with your plays. Come back and join us tomorrow. Have a good night. The NBA Tip-Off Show. We'll see you then.
Are you ready for baseball? The 2021 MLB regular season begins on April 1st and goes all the way through the World Series in November, giving fans over 200 days of baseball action. To help you have a profitable baseball season, WagerTalk has taken our top 2 handicappers and combined them in an amazing combo deal. The number 1 MLB overall all-time is Brian Leonard, and the number 1 MLB totals all-time is Dwayne Bryant. MLB through the World Series is priced at $10.95 per handicapper. $8.95 for early bird pricing, but right now you can lock in the number 1 MLB all-time overall and number 1 MLB all-time totals handicapper for the price of 1. Lock in both Brian Leonard and Dwayne Bryant's baseball selections through the World Series in November for only $8.95.